Hi, everyone. I'm Paul with Madcap Software. We're in the middle of our series on print-based output in Madcap Flare, and we're down to the copyright page. We just did the title page. The copyright page should be much easier. There's less going on, and we've already added a copyright page to the front matter page layout file. So we're going to start there. We just kind of need to add a topic and edit the page layout file a little bit, and we'll be done with that. So let's create a topic for our copyright page, and I'm going to put it here in the print only folder that I created before. New topic, and just name this one copyright. Oops, right there. Okay, so we got that. Now, what is in the copyright page? I know we don't have a header. Let's look at our mock-up. Come down here. Okay, so it starts with the logo, which we already have, and then just got to put in this text. So let's go and add our logo in here. So press enter, and it is the orange logo right in here. So I'm just going to drag that guy right there. Okay. Now we want to get that thing centered. I'm going to show you just a real quick and easy way to do that so that we can have a style class that can be used for any block item, not just this paragraph that has the logo on it, but anywhere that we need something to be centered. So I'm going to open up my style sheet, right click that, edit style class. Okay, so instead of doing that on a paragraph, I'm going to create what's called a generic style. And you can see we already have some generic classes in here. Click on my default medium, first of all, add selector. So instead of having an HTML element here, it says generic. And I'm just going to call this center, like that. We do that, and I might want to use this both in online and print output. So I'll set it right here in my default medium, text align, center. And so when we go back here to the copyright page and we are clicking on the paragraph, not on the image, we don't have the image selected, so it says paragraph up here. And we want to select that. So generic styles start with a dot. And so they're up here at the top. And there's the one we created. Select that and it centers it. And I can use that, like I said, for paragraphs, whatever is block level. All right, so we're going to add the next line content, which says copyright, and then the copyright symbol, the year, and the name of the company. I'm going to use variables for this. I'm going to just highlight this text because I'm going to get rid of it and go up here. And actually, I am going to just type the word copyright first. And then I can use this right here to insert my copyright symbol, space. And now I can insert my company name. Or actually, I wanted the year first. So click back there. And there's my year variable down here. And you can see it already knows it's 2023. And if we generate this again in 2024, it will change automatically. And there's the company name. All right, so we got the content in there. And we want to style this. Now we can use the same center generic class, but we want a bit more than this. We want this to use a certain font, Roboto Medium, and we want it to be 12 point and centered. So we're going to create a style class just for this. So let's go back to our style sheet, and this time I will do this down at the on the paragraph style here. I will create a selector. Okay, I created a class called Copyright One because I'm going to have two lines of copyright text and they're going to be different from one another a little bit. And so Copyright One, I used the Roboto Medium, font size 12 point, and I centered it. And I can come back here And first I'm going to press enter after that so I can get another line for my second line. Come up here and I'm going to select that. It is right there. Okay, so we got that line. Now I want to supply the text for the second copyright line. And I just basically copied this from what was in the mockup. I can change this Madcap software to use the variable in here. It says my company name, so that's just the name I'm using here in the in this sample project. So I have that. Let's go back and look at the mockup again. So I've got the first line of content. I actually have another bar, a horizontal line there. So let's take care of that first, and then we'll go back and we'll style this second line of content. So let's press enter after this, and let's go back to the style sheet and create a style class for that. And remember, we are doing this on this HR tag. We already have the one for the title page. We want something similar here for the copyright page, but it is going to be a little bit different. So we'll create a separate class here. First, click on the medium, and I'll go ahead and set this up. All right, I created this HR copyright class, and you can see it's got a lot of the same settings as the other, the title page one, the background color, the border color, the height, 5 pixels. I gave it different margins, margin top and bottom of 30 pixels, and the width is the same. I didn't do a text align because unless I specify, it's just going to center it, which is really what we want. One aside here is when you have properties that are very, the same for different styles and style classes, there's some streamlining you can do in your style sheet so that you're, setting it for multiple style classes all at one time. I'm not going to go into that. Just wanted to let you know there are techniques to do that, usually using the text editor. I'm just doing this to get this done, get it done quickly to show you. Okay, so we got that set. Let's go back in here and let's insert this horizontal rule. And now we've got copyright and title page classes, and we want the copyright one. And there it is. That looks good. We got spacing above and below. It's centered, right color, great. Now we want one more style class for that second line, and we're going to go back down here to the paragraph tag. And I am going to create a second class called copyright 2 and put settings on that. There it is, copyright 2, font family, Roboto Light. So it's a different font, still 12 point, and it is centered. So it's similar to the other one, not exactly like it. So click on that and let's select it, copyright 2. There we go. That was pretty easy. We got our topic, we got all the content we need in there, but we need some work on the page layout. The margins are a little messed up here and we need a footer, so that's what's next. As we look at the copyright page, I think we want to adjust the margins a little bit, have wider margins in this, and then we've got this footer down here, which is also, that's all taller and have different content in that. So let's go back into Flare and check out this page layout. And we are using this front matter page layout, and we're using this N or normal page. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to set the margins to 1.5 inches. It's already that on the left-hand side, but I'm going to do it at the top. So drag this guy down here, and then on the side, also the right side. So I'm going to get that over there. So I got that. Okay, so now we want to add a footer down here. And I'm going to drag this guy up here for the time being, save, and I'm going to add a footer frame. Select this. And let's make this, so 1, 2, let's make it, it's pretty pretty tall. I don't know exactly how tall, but let's do 2.5 inches in here. I don't know if I got that exactly. And I keep doing this. Let's set the width in here, make it easier to see the whole thing. Okay. So yeah, that's taller. We'll see if we like that, or maybe I will change that also later if we want to. And I move that body proxy up some. Okay, so we got that done. We want to change the background color for this. So double click that, solid, and we want this to be that orange color, which we got right there. What else do we want in here? That's all we need to do in the properties, I think. But we want to add this text. Let's go check it out again. So we have this text at the top, get in touch. So that can just be a simple paragraph. And then we've got this contact information, the address, phone number, and email and website. And this is, sort of like in 3 different sections. So once again, I think I'll use a table. And by using a table, I can make these separators white and not have separators on other parts of the cells. So we'll see if that works. So let's go back into here. And first of all, we want to open up our little mini editor. So I'm going to do F2. Do I want a page number in this? No, this is my copyright page. I'm going to say no. We're just going to get this editor open down here. And first of all, I want to add the heading down here, which I believe was keep in touch, like that. Of course, I could change that to something else if I want, or get in touch, keep in touch. All right, well, stay true to the mock-up and say get in touch. All right, and then we're going to add a table in here. And so this table, I know I want 3 columns, and I'm just going to do 1 row because I got those separators, and that would work well to do that. All right, so in here, I'm again going to select my table, and I am going to just put paragraphs in here for now, like that. And what do we want in these? I am going to add some variables. I already have variables for these things. So the first line here on the left side is the address, and that is the street address, like that. Press enter, and then the city, state, and zip. That's easy. So that was nice. I already had those variables. And then this one in the middle was phone number and then email. So let's go add variables again. So there's phone number and then email. After that, yeah, I got an email in here. And then the one on the right is, let's see, that is the website. And I don't have a website in here. So I'm going to save this for the time being, open up my, I'm going to open up my variable set, and I'm going to add one. So let's just do this, call it website. And I'm just going to do mycompany.com. All right, that'll work. Save that, close that. This little cell over here is really small because I haven't added anything to it yet. I'm going to add this website one. Okay, there we go. So we got our content in there. Now what we want to do is I'm going to create a style for this get in touch part, that heading. I'm going to do that. And then I think what we're going to do is we're going to create a table style. for this. That'll make it easier to edit this table as we need it. And then we'll need some more styles for inside our table for that content. Let's just start one thing at a time. Let's go back to our style sheet and do the thing for the Get in Touch heading down here. Okay, and so let me just go ahead. I'm going to just create a selector here under the P style, and I'll put in all the settings. And here's what we have. I did a footer, copyright heading, and it's white, Roboto medium 16 point. Gave it some margins on the top and bottom to give it some space there and aligned it in the center. So let's go back here. And we need to open up our little mini editor by pressing F2 again. And we're clicking on Get in Touch, and there it is, footer, copyright heading. Now it goes, you don't see it in here because it's white text and we're not seeing the orange background. But if we look up here in our page layout, okay, there we can see it, and that looks fine. All right, next thing, let's go create our table style. Close this to give us more room. Content Explorer. So we have a style sheet, but we want to do a special style sheet for our table, and we don't have any in here yet. This usually goes in a folder here called Table Styles. I think that's right. And I'm going to right click on this, New, and Table Style. And let's give it the name Copyright Footer. It's a unique table that's probably only going to be used here. But this editor is going to let us do some things pretty easily that's going to give us the look that we want. So first of all, I want to remove this preview over here, lets you know how it looks as you're making changes. I don't want the lines around it. I'm going to change that to 0, outer lines, and then I'm going to go to rows, and it's this separator right down here. I'm going to change that to 0 as well. So no separators in the rows and no separators in the columns either. And I could do the same thing for header and footer, but our little table isn't going to use those. It's showing in the preview, but we don't care about that. Actually, I told it no separators. That's true on one of those columns, but remember let's go back and look at the thing. So you see these white lines in here. So if I set a separator, a white separator on that first column, and then a second one right there, then I will be good. And then this one won't have one on the right side at all. So how am I going to do this? Well, right now there's just, the way this table style works is there's just one look for a column, and this is it right here. And what I can do is add more styles in here. I'll add 2 more, column 1, 2, and 3, because I got 3 columns. So on this first column, the one on the left-hand side, I am going to set the separator. I'm going to change that back to 1 and make the color white. Click OK. And then I'm going to do the same thing on column 2. I'm going to, that's 1, and let's make it white. And then this one, the third one, is the one where we don't want any separator. Okay, now I think we got it. But we just need to go back to our page layout, open up our little mini editor, F2, and we need to apply that table style. So I've got my table tag here. I'm going to right click on that, go up to table style. There is my copyright footer style sheet. Apply that. You're not really seeing much change in here. But if I save and look in here, all right, it's coming together. I got the white lines in here dividing these things. Okay, need to do some more work still though. So the next thing is I'm going to create some styles in my style sheet for the content inside, and that's going to help us a lot, I think. So come in here, and I am going to create styles for each of those cells for the columns, for the left column, the center column, and the right column. I'll go ahead and just knock that out now. I've got these 3 new style classes now. The first one, footer copyright left column, and I set it a color of white, Roboto 10 point, margin bottom, margin top 0. Now the margin right, I set it 30 pixels because that one, and the text align is going to be right also. And that's because this one is shifted over here, but I want some space between it and the divider. And then the left, or the one on the right, is going to be the opposite, and this one is just going to kind of be centered. So the second one is that center column, and it's the same settings, except it's text align center. And then the copyright right column is the same as the left one, except it's margin left instead of margin right, and text align left instead of right. So I can now go back in here and open up my mini editor, and I can apply these styles to this stuff. So this one right here, those get the footer copyright left column, and these get the footer copyright center column, and this one, footer copyright right column, like that. Yeah, all right, save that, and let's move this down. Okay, it's getting closer. It's getting closer in here, but you can see it looks a little bit wonky. It's not quite centered in here. Got a couple of other things that I'm going to try to do and get this right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close. There's also, I want this space. I want these to be closer together, these cells. And so what I'm going to do is first of all, I'm going to wrap this table in a div, just another tag, another container in here. And I'm going to center that entire div. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to click at the end of that line, press enter. And to create a div, you just go to the home page and click this guy right here. Click, and that's a div. You can see I've got my paragraph. That's the get in touch heading. Well, let's just move this thing to see it. Then I've got this, which is empty. That's my div. I'm going to right click on my table, cut that, right click on that paragraph tag, paste it in there, and delete that paragraph. So it's wrapped inside this div in here. That's one thing I'm going to do. And I am going to apply the center class, that generic center class, center, to that. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the width of this table. So I'm going to right click on the table and go to table properties. And I'm going to make this, instead of 100%, I'm going to make this thing 80%. Let's try that. And finally, let's see this. Okay, it's close, not quite centered. I'm going to try another thing. I'm going to make, so right now that these columns are auto sized, I am going to force it and say 33% and 33% and 33% on this. So yeah, I decreased the width of the table, but I didn't want it over on the left. And that's why I wrapped it in the div and put a center on it. And now the only thing that I couldn't figure out was getting this centering to work. And so I'm just trying this, putting these specific values on the table, and that looks better right there. So that looks pretty well centered, I think, for the most part anyway. And I think we got it. I think that's it. So go to the copyright page in here, close this. And yeah, so it is using the page layout here. It's using normal. So there's my logo, text, bar, horizontal rule, there, and that. Okay. I think we got it. All right. So that is the copyright page. We're one step closer. We just need to keep moving down our PDF.